Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our weekly commodities update video. This is doing analysis on natural gas, oil, US dollar, gold, and silver. We're looking at their support and resistance levels, and as well as the most likely scenario price will be heading for later next week. And if you guys are looking for the stock market update video with the sentiment data, dark pool data, as well as the Mag 7 analysis, check the video out from yesterday. And if you guys are on Trading View, make sure to subscribe on YouTube for faster notifications. All right, let's get started on natural gas. So it looks like bears are continuing their weekly trend. So after this Friday's drop last week, I said if bulls do not hold this 3.6 support, bears are likely going to flush it because of the amount of resistance here, right? This is a major level. Resistance finally broke out, came back test, right? This now level acts as resistance. And we broke above it, came down again. Classic resistance now turning to support. So this level is pretty important. And if we break down from there, there's really not much below us other than this 3.3, which is this prior support, right? These prior supports. And it did act as a support a little bit, right? We bounce here and then look at Thursday. Thursday exactly back test now acting as resistance, right? Tried to act as support, broke down to the next level support, bounce. Now this classic support turns into resistance. And after the bulls sees this rejection on Thursday, then that's pretty much a green light for bears to flush through this support now, right? Because this rejection just signals the bulls that they're not going to try to get this back above this major resistance here anymore. So that's the new ceiling, and then they just kind of flushed it to the next level and broke the support, right? You can see after breaking this major support here around this 3.3, 3.4, you can see the amount of people getting stopped out and the new shorts piling in. You can see the volume here as well with this candle. So now the question is, where is the bottom, right? So we know nobody knows where the bottom is, but and as well as natural gas is a bear trending name. So that's what I always said. If it starts trending on the bear side, just kind of let it do so. It can be oversold, and however time frame it is, and you'll continue to be oversold. That being said, we are pretty much at the last level of support. I wouldn't even really call this a support, right? We did bounce here and here, right? That's like what, 3 days of volume here that we're sitting right on. So you can see the volume nodes here as well, right? Over here, this level was pretty much the most major support and resistance battle zone, right? And bears won it by rejecting it right there. Versus now that we're down here, it's like no volume, right? So it's not really a support, but that is pretty much the all-time lows, right, that we're in. Your chart looks a little bit different than mine, which is because it's adjusted for contract gaps, right? So you can, these contract gaps rollovers were all gone, and your chart would look more similar to mine, like this. So yeah, so this is pretty much the last level. If that breaks, which there is a good chance it will break, as well as this $3 psychological support level, then I'll just be looking at this maroon line. Prior resistance finally broke out of here, made like a 50% upside on there, right? This move, and then acted as support again, right? So prior resistance, major resistance, now acting as support once and support twice. So if we flush below that $3 mark, so there's nothing below us, and I guess that's it'll become like a price discovery, kind of like markets hitting new all-time highs. There's no resistance, and it's just doing price discovery, and we'll see where bulls gonna step up. Maybe it'll step up at 2.8, 2.7 down here, right? Or this might be a little bit too far, so it doesn't really care anymore about this line. Other than that, let's see if bulls can hold this $3 mark. That's their last level of defense. Longer term picture, right? Even now we're in a weekly downtrend as well, right? Big weekly drop, set the weekly lower high here, and then we just made that lower low, broke below the prior pivot. So now we are also in a weekly downtrend. It's a bit tough to fight natural gas bears when everything is trending the bear side. Of course, we'll get really big bounces on the way down, right? These bounces are pretty darn, yeah, these 20 to 30% bounces on the way down. If this holds, potentially we may go sideways, right? Big move down, big move up, big move down. If this holds above this pivot, this could potentially form more like a tightening range going sideways. But burden is on the bulls. If they're gonna, they better show up if they want to hold this little pivot support here left. Or, yeah, if they can do that, then maybe a tiny range is on the table for a longer term picture sideways. All right. Take a look at oil. If you would like, share, and subscribe, I always appreciate it, and put the notification icon. I do this every weekend, as well as the stock market. And let's continue with oil. So oil here broke the tiny range bear, right? A couple weeks ago, broke bear right here, right? This is the resistance, this is the support, bounce, 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 and then broke bear right there. And I said that we're probably not getting much follow through because oil is a longer term picture range. So when we zoom out, we are literally sitting right at $55 support. So it's less likely that this bear break is gonna get much follow through. So I said that last week, and we didn't get much follow through here. No, this was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I said this 2 weeks ago. So yeah, not much follow through, and looks like we're starting to break bull here. So finally, bulls decided they want to break the first step, which is breaking this trend line, and breaking the pivot of that downtrend. So this is the first step, and let's see if they can come back up, test the $6 mark. But overall, oil is a bigger picture range trade, so I wouldn't be surprised if it comes all the way back up to 61.6, and then maybe it'll just decide to chop around here. Yeah, so let's see if they can get over 60.5 first. If they can, we're looking at 61.5. And for the bears, you want to see this as a fake out, right? Broke out one day above it, and it kind of just can't come back down all the way to it. And then we'll probably, if you guys can break 55, then we're looking at the lower range of here. We're looking closer to near about 653. US dollar showing a little bit of signs of life after being this downtrend for a bit, but overall, really not doing anything, right? This is just a complete sideways range. And if you zoom out, it's just a big, really big bear flag at the moment. So no signs of real movement yet at the moment. So what you want to see as a bull is you negate this bear flag on the monthly charts, right? At least try to get over 101. That would negate the bear flag, and that would also, you can see all these support. It's a major level at 101 and 100. Break above that, okay, now we have a shot back up over here, potentially range in this level. But before we even get over 101, we're probably just going to continue to range below this major resistance on the monthly charts. And that's good for the metals. Technically, you want a more bearish dollar for the metals. So as long as it continues to range below here, metals, it's good for the metals. Doesn't mean metal is just going to continue to skyrocket overall, but no signs of red flags in terms of gold and silver at the moment. Even though we had this big flush last week, no structure was broken, right? This was the last higher low. This was the higher low before that, right? Higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Set a new higher low, and now let's see if we could make a new higher high. So no red flags for me until bears can even prove to break the uptrend, right? If you can't even break the daily uptrend, now we're not even going to be talking about the weekly and monthly at all. So yeah, Literally, didn't even, couldn't even, this was enough space for them to potentially form that lower high and lower low, break the daily uptrend, but they didn't do that. So no bears at the moment still. Right? We can even draw a trend line here. Just this little bit, right? So we can't break this trend line here, and really bear it's not doing anything at all. Let's say Monday and Tuesday comes over, and then we have bearish days, hits here, and then breaks the trend line, and then break this pivot around this Wednesday 31st pivot, this 4284 low, then that's also a daily downtrend confirm. Same time, then I'm like, okay, maybe bears are starting to show up a little bit up here now. But at the moment, no signs of that yet. And what you want to see as well as a bear, you want to see the alts potentially for metals would be silver, right, as well as copper and palladium. All those names starting to weaken first before gold kind of rolls over. So it's kind of like money leaving the sector. But so at the moment, no signs of that yet. It's like, right, if you're seeing, it's kind of like seeing Bitcoin still at the highs, and Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin, and all the alts are still, ripping, right? That's not really a sign that the money is leaving the sector at the moment. But let's say, next week or the week after that, we see silver tanking much higher than it's much higher beta name, so it will tank more and go up more at the same time, obviously. But let's say silver is starting to see underperformance, copper, palladium, everything starting to tank. Okay, then that's probably a sign where gold is probably going to start picking up on the bear side as well. So yeah, that's the psychology fundamental stuff. But the technical charts is also healthy at the moment, right? Silver, this drop didn't even test the prior pivots either, right? We didn't even test any of these pivots. It just made another higher low and almost made a higher high here. Just double top, but so no signs of red flag as of now. The red flag, the initial red flag would be at least show me some break this $70 mark, 69.25, this low right here on this Wednesday low. Yeah, no signs of that yet. All right, that's got it for you guys. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and comment below if you guys got any questions. I will see you guys next weekend for more stock market updates and commodity updates. Have a great rest of you guys' weekend, and take care.